The end of World War II brought the beginning of a new era of optimism and prosperity. Americans were in the mood to spend. There was a boom in suburban housing and an unprecedented demand for personal transportation.
The war was a terrific period for workers. There was full employment. People earned tremendous pay during the war, but couldn't spend it on anything. They had enormous savings in their pockets or in their bank accounts when the war ended.
After 4 years of producing war machinery, the big three automakers were eager to get back to the business of building cars. But with no time to design and engineer new models, the automakers simply produced more of the models they had built before the war. And they couldn't build them fast enough.
People had orders at different car dealerships. They would take anything. So it was really a seller's market after the war. In fact, my dad bought a 49 Plymouth, and he had a hard time getting that.
At Chrysler, company president K.T. Keller was firmly in command. Veteran employees remember him not only as a man who knew the inner workings of automobiles, but also the machines that built the automobiles.
And I remember this. He rolled up his sleeves, got into the machine, and in about 20 minutes, he told the superintendents, go ahead, you do this and that, and fix the machine, get the people to work. He saved a whole day's shutdown. But that's the kind of a person K.T. Keller was.
Keller was also rather conservative in his opinions of automotive design, and his opinions dictated the course of Chrysler's post-war styling.
His classic comment when someone showed him a lower-slung, longer vehicle was that Chrysler's customers would never buy that car because there wasn't enough headroom inside for a gentleman to sit in the car with his top hat on and be able to drive it comfortably.
If you're a big family man like me, better get a Dodge.
But while Chrysler products remained tall and traditional, the competition was making changes.
Ford and General Motors developed new vehicles, new models that looked very different from the ones they produced during the war. They were built lower to the ground, they were longer, they were more streamlined in the look that they had.
In much of its post-war advertising, Chrysler emphasized its reputation for engineering excellence. But in the early 1950s, the company began placing more emphasis on styling.
And now, the whole family of the stars in styling.
The high and wide cars K.T. Keller loved were falling out of favor with Americans. In 1954, Ford overtook Chrysler as the nation's second largest producer of passenger cars.
And 1954 was really a very bad year for the corporation. All the styling chickens came home to roost, and we ended up 1954 with about 13% of the market versus our usual 20%. And people in Detroit began to joke about the big 2.5 instead of the big 3.
But the slump didn't last long. In 1955, Chrysler completely revamped its product line. The man behind the bold new styling was designer Virgil Exner. He called it the forward look. As the forward look cars began appearing, Chrysler's image was reversed. Instead of being known as Detroit's stodgy automaker, the company now enjoyed a reputation as an innovator in engineering and design. America's love affair with the automobile had never been stronger. And for millions in the late 50s, autumn was one of the most exciting times of year, the time when the new cars were unveiled.
I can remember them being covered, and I can remember the dealership windows being papered over and people there looking through to see if they could get a glimpse of new models. So there was a lot of excitement. This was rolling sculpture, and it was very much a part of the time, especially for those of us who grew up in the automotive community.
By the early 1960s, the boys and girls of the post-war baby boom were growing up. The automobile was about to assume another role as a means of expression and freedom for a new generation. Chrysler in the 1960s, coming soon on CEN.